Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Savannah Chrisley reveals why Todd felt guilt. Chrisley knows best alum. Savannah Chrisley is revealing why her father, Todd Chrisley, felt guilt. Did it have to do with his prison sentence or something else in their lives? More so, did he finally come to terms with what was plaguing him? Keep reading for more details. Todd Chrisley is currently serving 12 years behind bars, while his wife, Julie Chrisley, was sentenced to 7. This has deeply impacted their children, especially Savannah Chrisley. She became the guardian of Todd and Julie's 2 youngest children, Grayson and Chloe, all while still working. Plus, she has been fighting to get her parents released from prison and is hopeful that the president will be able to help her. She spoke at the RNC and has been working very closely with his people. Die-hard Chrisley fans are hopeful they will be released in the very near future. Julie has asked for a new judge as she felt her first resentencing was unfair and based on bad feelings towards Savannah. Her daughter also caused drama in Todd's prison with the way she constantly spoke out about the bad treatment. Yet Savannah has no plans to keep her mouth shut no matter who it hurts. Fortunately, she has done a great job with her siblings. Grayson headed off to college in January, and Chloe adores her. However, it was not always easy for Chloe, who is the biological daughter of Savannah's older brother, Kyle. She was adopted by Todd and Julie, and has seen them as mom and dad. According to Savannah Chrisley, it was Todd who struggled the most after the adoption. First off, she made it very clear there were no labels when he went from grandpa to father. There was never a time where my dad said, "You have to call me dad," or "You have to call her, Julie, mom." That may have made the adjustment far easier, but Todd felt a lot of guilt replacing his own son in the paternal role. Savannah made it clear he never should have felt that. My dad fought against it because he felt guilt at the fact that his son's child is now calling him dad. My dad felt a guilt he never should have felt, because if Chloe's biological father would have been a father, then we wouldn't be in this position. Savannah Chrisley also opened up about how hard this all is for Chloe. She struggles when people misidentify her family members or do not see them in her proper place. Todd and Julie Chrisley are her parents and Savannah is her sister, not her aunt. My heart, honestly, breaks for Chloe because Chloe has not had an easy upbringing. Savannah has taken the proper steps to ensure Chloe is doing okay by having her in therapy. However, she acknowledges that kids can be harsh, and all Chloe wants is her to have her parents back. Some people do not care for what Savannah has to say. They feel she is always talking about not having parents, when that is far from true. Do you understand why Todd initially felt guilty, yet is Savannah right in her logic? If Chloe's birth parents stepped up, this would be a non-issue. Let us know in the comments below. The living room was quiet except for the rhythmic ticking of the antique grandfather clock. Savannah Chrisley sat at the edge of a velvet armchair, her hands wrapped tightly around a mug of tea gone cold. Her normally sparkling eyes carried the weight of someone who had spent months, maybe years, learning how to speak honestly without shattering into pieces. It had been a long year for the Chrisley family. With Todd Chrisley behind bars serving time for financial crimes that shocked fans and foes alike. The narrative surrounding the family had often been reduced to headlines and hashtags. But Savannah had always known that beneath the splashy stories was a quieter, more painful truth. A truth tied to something far more human than tax evasion or federal courtrooms. It was guilt. And Todd carried it like an anchor. People think the worst part for my dad is being away from the cameras. Savannah began softly, her voice measured. They think he misses the show, the lifestyle, the control. But what eats at him most is what he couldn't protect us from, especially me. She paused, brushing a strand of platinum hair behind her ear. it wasn't just the downfall. It was what led to it. Growing up under the bright lights of Chrisley knows best, Savannah was used to perfection, or at least the illusion of it. Their family presented as Southern royalty with a moral compass that always pointed north. But as Savannah now admitted, there were cracks forming long before anyone noticed. "My dad always wanted to be the provider, the protector," she said. "He wanted to give us everything he didn't have. And he did. But in doing that, he started believing he had to be perfect." According to Savannah, Todd's guilt didn't just begin when the indictments came down or the prison doors closed behind him. It began in the small moments, when his ambitions started to outweigh his judgment, when pride made it impossible to ask for help, and when love for his family got twisted into an obsession with appearances. "Dad told me once, if they come for me, I can handle it. But if they come for you or your brothers or your sister because of me, I'll never forgive myself." That day had come. Savannah, who now acts as legal guardian to her younger siblings, had watched as the life they once knew crumbled in slow motion. Paparazzi hovered. Friends vanished. Opportunities dried up. And while she stood resilient, mature beyond her years, her father's absence left a silent echo in every room. "I visited him last month," she said, "and he looked at me with these eyes I've never seen that look before. It was like he was seeing a movie play in his head that he couldn't rewind or pause, only suffer through." According to Savannah, Todd confessed that his greatest guilt came not from the sentencing or even the shame, but from what Savannah had to become in his place. "He cried when I told him I had to cancel a shoot because Chloe needed help with homework," she said, voice cracking. "He said, 'You should be living your life, not fixing mine.'" But Savannah doesn't see it that way. It's not about fixing. It's about surviving. And yeah, maybe guilt is part of the process, but so is grace. Her words carry the poise of someone who has lived 10 lifetimes in a single year. Not bitter, not angry, but wise. There's no denial here, no sweeping under the rug. Savannah is not trying to justify her father's actions. Instead, she's offering context, the kind that never makes it to tabloids or TikTok. "My dad's guilt doesn't change what happened," she said. "It doesn't make him innocent, but it makes him human. And I think that's what people forget when they judge. We're all just human, trying to make sense of the messes we make." Todd, she says, writes her letters nearly every week. Not just the usual "I love you" and "stay strong" notes, but deep, emotional reflections. In one letter, he said, "Every night I think about what I taught you without meaning to, that perfection matters more than peace. I'm sorry." Savannah wiped her eyes gently with the edge of her sleeve. That line hit me like a ton of bricks. Because it's true. We were taught to be flawless, but now I'm learning to be free instead. That freedom hasn't come easily. She's dealt with court hearings, online harassment, the logistics of raising her siblings, and the emotional burden of holding her family together. And through it all, Todd's guilt has hung in the air. A constant reminder that even love, when driven by fear and pride, can cause destruction. But still, she speaks with compassion. "I don't hate him for what happened. I just wish he had loved himself enough to know that he didn't have to prove anything." As for the future, Savannah remains hopeful. Not blindly so, but with a grounded optimism that comes from facing rock bottom and still choosing to stand.